Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back to Torment Ties of Numenera. Now, last time we picked up this Azure Mirrorcaster, but before we get into that, my videos the last couple of days have been choppy, or not the last few days, but like for a couple of weeks now they've been choppy. I can't seem to work out why that is. I'm trying something new with this video. You guys probably won't see anything different, but hopefully it will be smooth all the way through as it has been in the past. I don't know if it's my PC or if it's OBS or if it's something else that has suddenly started playing up to make it choppy, but hopefully this will be fine, and so we will be able to get through this and it won't get choppy and it won't get whatever else. But anyway, let's use this Mirrorcaster, considering that we now have it. You withdraw the Mirrorcaster and hold it before you. A sour thirst immediately overtakes you. Nameless and persistent, your hands shake, your throat is dry, drier than sun-bleached stones. The pull of the mirror within this device slices like a polished, shining knife through the wretched carvings clutching at your throat. Clutching at your throat. Inspect it. Whispers rise from beneath the thirst, thoughts trapped not by the device itself, but by the maze of addiction faithfully carved within the hollows of the Mirrorcaster. One drink, one taste will help me think. Why suffer? Why shouldn't I have what I want? I want this. I deserve this. You lift one hand from the device and the thoughts fade into irritable muttering. Okay, let's get into this. Let's jump right in. Okay, unfortunately we've got fuck all in the way of stats to deal with. The first thing I probably should have used. Oh, the game's whispering to me. It's not. I thought it was reading it, but it's not. It's just whispering. The first thing you notice is the stifling heat. The dry air feels like it's sucking the life right out of you. You stand in the middle of a crowded street. An enormous blue dome towers in the distance over crowded clay and synth steel buildings. The dome shimmers at the sunlight, as the sunlight dances across the surface. Dark men and women jostle past you in brightly coloured robes, kicking up dust clouds as they go. The dust glitters gold and silver, but it's just dust and it's making you cough. A beggar sits at your feet. Her robes are far grungier than those of the crowd. The beggar is a thin, gaunt woman, her skin reddish-brown from what looks like constant sunburn, her hair bleached almost white, her eyes green with bluish tints. The light reflects on a smooth, polished metal band around her throat. Coin for knowledge, she chants rhythmically in a pleasing voice, gently rocking. Coin for pity, coin for song. She sees you staring. I know you, she says, her normal voice almost as melodious as her chanting. She points at the side of your head. I've seen that tattoo and that uniform. You're one of the lords of the endless battle, aren't you? A cast-off. What business could you have with the Oasis? Try to remember whose life you're in now. That might be useful. Your accoutrements jog your memories. His name is Haris Fulk, an officer of the 1st Militia. A patch was torn from his uniform, suggesting he was actually a former officer. You remember a scandal that resulted in Haris's exile, but you don't know any more details than that. Several ornaments hang from your belt. A metal hand, an electronic eye, a dead power core. They're trophies. Haris's speciality is battling constructs and automatons. These ornaments are a source of pride for him. I was exiled, I don't know why. Her laughter is like an arpeggio, played on a perfectly tuned harp. Of course you don't. I imagine whatever it is, you didn't do it either. She waves a hand back and forth. I'm sorry. Of course the details of your past are none of my business. A strange smile crosses her lips. Your exile is obvious enough from your uniform. The torn patch is a dead giveaway. I'm surprised you still wear it. But what interests me more is those curios around your belt. She points at the various trophies on your belt from defeated automatons. She beckons you closer and leans into your ear. I have a job for someone just like you. I need your help to sneak into the oasis. Why do you want to get into the oasis so badly? She sits back, folding her hands in her lap. You want a story? No, of course you don't. Here's the short, bittersweet version then. You see this? She touches the metal band around her throat. I acquired it some time ago when I used to live in Sega's Cliffs. I can't say what compelled me to wear it, but... She laughs at her own foolishness. I did, and it gave me the most beautiful singing voice, and, as an odd bonus, the ability to breathe water. I began to go by the name Tide Singer. Okay. But what blessing is without its curse? Mine is an overwhelming urge to immerse myself in water. I need it. I ache for it. She squeezes her fists until her knuckles become white. She lets go and sighs. I came here hoping to move into the oasis, but their immigration laws are quite strict. I sing for money here in Jerboa, spending a day in Mrajolios whenever I have enough scraped together. But it's not enough. I need more. Okay, then what's in it for me? I thought you'd never ask. You were kicked out of the endless battle, yes? On the first side, if I'm not mistaken? She smiles at your surprise. You'd be amazed what you hear on the streets of Jerboa. Isn't it Jerboa like a small rodent? I know a thing or two, including something very interesting about your militia that's worth the risk. She sits back and gestures up at your tattered uniform. Besides, what have you got to lose? Right then, do you have a plan? She pats the ground next to her and waits until you're sitting down. The tour groups are our way in. The Gibber guards will let anyone pass with a guide. Of course, the problem is that the guides stick to you like... She searches for the right metaphor and lets a handful of sand sift through her fingers. Well, dust. She raises a finger, except at the menagerie. It's like an underwater museum, but it's so crowded that the guides simply hang out at the entrance. So we enter Mrajolios with a group, then slip away and hide ourselves in the menagerie until nightfall. This is the tricky part. The menagerie is guarded by a demon, an automaton from a prior world. She playfully flicks the construct's eye hanging from your jacket. But I suspect you know a thing or two about dealing with those, don't you? With your skills, we should be able to sneak past it no problem. Alright, sure, that seems to be why we're here. That's fine, why not? Her face lights up as bright as her song from before. Thank you, thank you. For a man of your skills, this will be easy, I promise. Get what you need, I'll meet you at the gates in an hour. Then she gets up practically floats away. Finding the gates of the oasis is simple. All roads radiate from the dome like a hub. The air is cool and fresh near the bubble. This close, the waters appear to rise perfectly vertically. You strain your neck trying to see where they disappear. An energy net shimmers just inside the waters, open only at a single point, where several Gibra, armed with barbed, glowing spears, scrutinize every air breather who tries to enter. Those with bracelets and tour guides are allowed to pass, and the rest are turned away. Neem suddenly slaps the airskin bracelet, an airskin bracelet on your wrist. Yeah, okay. You feel a slight tingle, but nothing more. She points to a group of Jerboans next to a smiling Gibra. I don't know what a Gibra is off the top of my head. Ready? Let's go. Stepping into the oasis is surprising. There's no shield or force holding the waters. You walk into them like you might walk into the sea. Once inside, the tour guide takes you all over the massive city, through the sunken market, an underwater park, the government square. Neem was right. She doesn't let you out of her sight. Once. Finally, you arrive at the menagerie. It's just as crowded as Neem said it would be, filled with creatures and curios, as though it can't decide whether it's a museum or a zoo. It's almost overwhelming, and you don't know what to look at first. Remember, Neem says, her hand gently holding your arm, why we are here. Take a closer look at the construct near the door. The construct's armour is pitted and scarred, bursting with metal thorns on all sides. Instead of arms, it has long, killing blades sharpened to a gleaming edge. It appears to be inactive, completely oblivious to you or anything in the menagerie. A feeling of intense loathing rises unbidden as you look upon it. These are not your feelings, you realise, but a visceral response of the person whose body you are who you're in. So now that's sounds very much like the constructs that we've seen in the Bloom already. So we kind of know where they come from, I guess. Let's take a stroll around the entire building to find a good hiding place. The menagerie is much larger than it looked from the entrance. There are smaller curios and cells located everywhere, including all the way at the back. There's even a cell that the plaque says was once used as a prison for air breathers who broke Marajolios' most sacred laws. The cell is filled with air. It is empty and dark. It would make the perfect place to hide if you could gain access. There is a hatch that leads into it, tucked away in the dark back hallway. But the hatch is made of thick, heavy synth steel. You'd have to break the latch to get in. Try to unlock it? I mean, we're not going to manage that at all. Smashing seems the way forward. Not that we're particularly good at that either. Examine the amulet on the pedestal in the centre. It is an amulet made of several concentric circles. A thick cord is attached to the outer circle, although it does not appear to pass through the other rings. The circles are just hovering in the centre of each other. A plaque on the pedestal says that it is called the Talisman of Skorgil. Myth says it belonged to legendary Baji, believed to be a prophet of Nikal by the Jibra and the deity by some Jaboans. Its true origins are unknown, but it has belonged to the Giash, the ruling council of the Oasis, for several centuries. Excuse me. You recognise the talisman as a strange artifact from that first memory deep within your mind. The changing god once needed it for something, perhaps to complete the resonance chamber itself, although all of that seems irrelevant now. Watch the crowd of tourists. Schools of tourists meander through the menagerie's corridors. A vast majority of them are human, but there are several Jibra and other water-breathing races as well. A soft current seems to carry them from one exhibit to the next. You can feel the pull of the current yourself, though it's trivial to resist it. One tourist hovers to one side, dressed in colourful robes, and seemingly more interested in the tourists themselves. His gaze moves back and forth across the crowds, but never on any of the exhibits themselves. Of course, he's simply doing what you are, but what is his reason for observing? Perception. Seeing the robed tourist, you scrutinise the other tourists even more carefully, wondering if any others are observing more than just the exhibits. The robed figure appears to be the only one, but you notice something else. None of the tourists, not even the robed figure, are looking up. Even the Jibra treat the menagerie as though it were filled with air, its occupants restrained by gravity. Looking up, you notice a shadowed crevice high above, hidden behind stone structural supports. It looks just big enough for two people to hide in, if you could get there without being noticed. Wait for an opportunity, then hide in the shadows. You point out the crevice to Neem, and she nods, understanding your intent. Wait here, she says. She swims away to a back corridor. You can no longer see her, but in a few moments, slow melody of seraphic tones floats through the water back to you. The tourists' ears perk up, and soon all of them are either looking for the sound or have swum off after it. Immediately, you shove off the floor and tuck yourself away in the crevice. Neem finishes her song and thanks the onlookers. She wanders the menagerie for another 2 or 3 hours before she finds an opportunity to swim up unnoticed herself. Yeah, that looks kind of like the things that we saw before. Then it's just a matter of waiting for nightfall. Hours pass, tourists and tour guides leave one by one. The guides don't seem to keep track of who they bought, acting only as chaperones for tourists who wish to return. The remainder are accompanied out at sunset. The menagerie is dark and empty. Sunlight that had been filtering in from the translucent rocks in the ceiling is now gone. Only a few fish and rocks still light the gloom. You emerge from your hiding place, moving as quietly as possible, but as soon as you reach the main corridor, a metallic voice carries from the direction of the front entrance. Did you think I would not see, would not know? You will die here tonight. Yay! You see the demon around the corner, a construct bristling with spikes and blades. It doesn't seem to have seen you. It doesn't seem to have seen you yet, but it knows you are here, and it is blocking the exit. You have a beam lance bracer on your forearm, but you suddenly wonder if that will be enough. Try to blind it with the beam lance. You aim your lance at its head and fire. The beam strikes. I think I'm going to get this brother of mine murdered, unfortunately. Strikes a glancing blow across the side of the thing's face, doing damage but not blinding it. It turns back and shows an inhuman grin. I was made for this, perfectly designed to kill you. There is no chance you will survive. Well, yes, there is that. Try to disable it, because it's all we've got left. You swim closer, slicing at vital components on the demon's side. As you think you've done it, one of the blade arms deflects your blow. It is damaged, but not disabled. I served the Tabat in their golden age. I hunted down races that your people don't even remember. Did you think I could be taken down so easily by you? Let's just attack it with a beam lance. Aiming carefully, you fire again at its lower torso. The beam explodes with a blast of light and heat, firing into and then through the demon's body. It is flung backwards through the water, slamming into the wall behind it. Its eyes dim and it goes silent. With the demon... Okay, I could have just shot it in the chest and it would have been fine, unless I needed to do more than that. With the demon destroyed, there is nothing between you and the exit. You swim out into the cool liquid night. Stars and the full moon shimmer above you from outside the dome of the oasis. Shadowy mountains rise in the far distance at the edge of the valley. Below you, the rest of Mirajolios is a black expanse. Sadly, Neem will never see it. As you swim down to the surface, 2 shadowy figures fly through the water above you. The moon's reflection shines on them for a brief moment, and you catch a glimpse of 2 cast-off tattoos and an artificial eye. Mazov? The 2 disappear into the menagerie. Any thoughts of following them are quickly snuffed out as something tugs painfully at your gut. Within seconds, Mirajolios fades away from good. So, alright then. I don't really know what that was about. And we don't have enough money to sleep. But we do have... Well, that's health. Well, no, we won't use that right now. What else do we have? Intellect. More intellect. I thought we had a thing that gave us... Ah, there we go. Speed. Use... I thought that was just a little lump. I didn't think it was an injector. What does this do? Oh, bloom juice. Don't want... We've still got this. Could try using it again, but I don't know if that would actually do anything. Right. What do we actually have to do then? How long have we been going for? We've been going for a little while. Okay, so now we can't go get Tabir just yet because we need to find a way out. We need to go to the trade post. Infested Fathom, missing patrol, help for Eratus, and the thugs. Okay, well we can't do any of that in here, so let's get out. Also, it's very warm here today. It's kind of dark outside, kind of gloomy, but it's like nearly 30 degrees. So I might dry out a little faster, and if that's the case, I might call it quits on this one a little earlier than instead of nearly hitting a full hour. But let's go and take a look here first. Oh yeah, that's the ghost fella. What is this? A blister of flesh protrudes from the ground, an irritated, angry pustule. It is almost entirely opaque, but you see the faintest hints of movement within. Examine the cyst. You study the movement within the cyst more closely, and as if in response to your curiosity, the shadow of a hand claws at the interior and vanishes. Someone or something is trapped in the cyst. Touch the cyst. You feel something pressing against your mind, a sharp presence like the thought of pain, thrusting its experiences into your imagination. As your fingers brush the flesh of the cyst, the memories come pouring in, flooding your thoughts with emotions of lives you have never lived, stories from countless lives lost in the bloom. You reach out for a random memory in the swirling maelstrom, and its particulars become immediately shockingly clear. You gaze through the faint shimmer and a ripple of a force field down the silent red-veined tunnel into a pulsating black. It looks empty. You know it is now. You know it is now. You feel the eyes on you, the hungry eyes. But you feel no fear. You feel emptiness within you, under a scab that you want to pick. Examine the emptiness inside you. You remember her laughing face. You remember her closing her eyes, the tentacles of her hair writhing around the back of your head, pulling you in for a kiss. You remember her delighted laughter when you told her you'd found a lost settlement at the end of a quiet tunnel in the bloom, untouched by scavengers. A fortune lying on shelves and in neat crates. You remember leading her by the hand. The pain rises. Your hand strokes the force field controls. What happened? Keep digging through the memory. You don't want to remember. You don't. But you go deeper anyway. You'd installed the shield to protect your find from other explorers, but when you fled the ruins and the shrieking things beneath, it was the shield that saved you. You, and not her. You saw them fall on her 10 steps from safety, pale claws, blood-painted screams. Oh, sorry, pale claws, blood-painted, screams from beneath the seething pile. So much blood, and she never stopped screaming. Finally, you raised the shield, the only thing... and only then did the silence fall. You look at your hand hovering over the shield controls. For all you know, she could still be screaming down there in the ruins, and it's your fault. The life you were going to build together is gone, erased, but you just have one more thing to do. Join her, open the force field. Your hand slides across the control and you deactivate the screen. Silence follows. She is not still screaming. You feel a moment's relief. The countless nightmares lied to you after all. You take a single step into the dark, another, and then they swarm up the tunnel and fall on you, biting and clawing and chewing and shrieking. After endless agony, blackness claims you. You return to your own mind with the death of your host, knowing that what you saw, what you felt was true. The life you lived was full, rich, and ended here in the bloom. Your host's remaining moments were saturated with pain. Your muscles still twitch with the memory of agony, and your suffering bleeds into the cyst, loosening its fleshy fibres. It appears that the bloom has sealed something within this cyst, and your agony is the key that will set it loose. Okay, well let's touch it again. You steel yourself for another memory of pain and reach out to touch the cyst again. Again, the unbidden memories spring into your mind and you lose yourself among them until you reach out and seize one. Your head is throbbing, aching, feels like it's going to split wide open. You are trying to retreat from the battle for this region of the bloom, holding a tower of iron will against your scion foes, but they batter at it ceaselessly, and you can feel your defences crumbling. If you strike back, you can save your allies, but you will open yourself to the enemy's mind. You saw what they did to Aletto. Every pore of his body started leaking blood. His screams are still haunting you. Drop your defences and strike. The moment your shield falls, they pounce on you, feeding you psychoses and traumas dredged up from your ancestral primitive past. They start to tear apart your concept of self, placing illusions of love lost and lives lived that are not your own. They whip you with empathy, and you can feel a backdoor attack on your psychomotor functions. The agony is exquisite. You use the pain and rage to lash out at the weakest mind, and you realise then that you are fighting a hive consciousness. You cannot defeat the creatures, united as they are. Your only hope is to defend yourself or one of your squad mates, but only one of the 10 of you can survive the concerted attack of the hive. Keep attacking. You strike and you strike and you strike again. You channel your fear into a devastating blow aimed at the heart of the nest. But the energy vanishes. You think. Lines of control snake through your body, dominating you and painting new truths on your mind. Each silver thin thread draws a universe of pain through your exposed nerves. As your mind slowly dies, your foes show you the bodies of your fallen comrades. Not one escaped. They died in agony, and so do you. Consciousness calls you back to its arms, and you find yourself aching emotionally and physically from the experiences. Your muscles throb and pulse with the residue of fight or flight response, and the cyst again responds to your pain, the fibers loosening further. Okay, let's do this one more time. You steel yourself for another memory of pain and reach out and touch the cyst. Again, the unbidden memories spring into your mind. Please, you whisper, hands raised, clean white dust, untouched by the taint of the bloom, cakes your slender fingers. I worked for years on this sculpture. I moulded it with beams and chisels and with my bare hands when my tools ran dry. This is the only thing in my life that has meaning. Something in the stone is calling to me. It needs to be given shape. I know that, says the man who used to be your friend. I've seen what it has done to you. He holds a large hammer in his hands. His fists are shaking. You've changed. Ever since you brought this hunk of rock back from that other world, you've changed. It's not art that compels you. There's life already in that thing, and it's using you to get out. I'm here to stop you. If my behaviour is that changed, I'll step aside. His shock is apparent, but he hides it quickly. He steps between you and the carved stone and swings his hammer. On the first strike, you swear you can hear a high-pitched shriek, but you tell yourself that it is just the rock cracking. Another blow, and another, and chips scatter in a spray of red and white. The shriek has subsided, but your mind is filled with low and pained moan. He holds the hammer aloft for a final blow and brings it down with all his strength. Your statue explodes and its pieces crumble. He stands and moves to the side, and for a moment you see a pool of blood amidst the shattered pieces. The memory fades. You wake from the vision, your body shaking involuntarily from the experience. A brief moment later and you are reoriented in your own flesh. You find yourself once again standing before the massive cyst in the bloom. You kept your host safe, but you sensed that wasn't what was needed. Okay. Okay, touch it again then. Okay, you won't ruin my creation. Step aside, this is your last warning. I will destroy it, and if I have to go through you, I will. I'll protect my sculpture with my life. It is my creation. As you wish, the hammer is faster than you would have believed, and it blasts the bones in your hand to powder. You fall back, the pain following, and he strikes at the statue directly. The first shot elicits a high-pitched shriek from the stone, and you throw yourself in front of the sculpture to keep another one from landing. Don't make me. He never finishes the sentence, but swings again. Your shoulder collapses with a wet crunch. Nice. You embrace the statue, shielding it from the hammer. After a few blows, he focuses entirely instead on you, grunting and growling. Blood splatters the stone beside your cheek. At last, you topple bonelessly to the ground and watch as he reduces your masterpiece to a pile of rubble and splinters. You struggle to summon a single breath, a single sob. When the blackness comes, you welcome it. The ache in your heart has become familiar, even as the sorrow and heartbreak seem new and fresh each time, different facets of the same emotion, each refracted through a new experience. The cyst's fibres twitch again, loosening one final time, revealing a frail, angular creature trapped inside. It bursts out of the cyst, leaving a glittering object behind in its haste to escape. Oh, is that a... Bye! Examine the remains. Something catches your eye, a piece of sharp metal that protrudes from just underneath the fold of the decaying bloom flesh. You cannot begin to guess at its function, but it's small and easy to carry, and you slip it into your pouch. Mesmeric handle. You found this object. The bloom cyst, made of azure steel and resembles the hilt of a small knife. The blade is missing. Okay.
I'll remember that.
I've never seen anything like that, she mutters, hands on her hips. But if the Abacus was holding that object, it's full of trans-dimensional energy, or it was. Probably worth a closer look. Okay, well, we've got the thing there. So, we've got some traders, we've got some ways out. Merchants. I think that's a wall that we can't get past. Yeah, okay, well... Is there a signpost up here somewhere? No. Okay, do you know what? We've done a lot of memories today. We've jumped into a Merecaster. We've just done all of those weird, painful memories. So what I think we'll do, especially as I'm actually drying out here, and I sincerely hope that I don't look too much of a mess, but it is incredibly warm in here. So I am going to call it quits there, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.